Yes, sir. It's your boy Rich here, back with another video. And brother, what a game against the Toronto Tempo for the Indiana Fever. First time in Canada for the Indiana Fever. Caitlin Clark by proxy. First time she ever stepped foot in the country. But man, I would be lying if I didn't tell the truth tonight. I think we can all admit this was a Kelsey Mitchell night, from punking Marina Mabry to catching the Holy Ghost in the third quarter, and just lighting up the scoreboard to the tune of 29 points in 24 minutes. Unfortunately, she did leave early. We don't have any clarification on what happened with her yet, but overall, it was a game for the Indiana Fever against undermanned, under talented team, and credit to the Tempo for hanging in there. Marina Mabry can get as hot as anybody in the league, and they made it interesting towards the end. But I think there was just too much for the Tempo to overcome as far as talent. I thought Aaliyah Boston really did a great job on defense, locking the paint down. We even got contributions tonight from Lexi Hull, which is becoming a more of a rarity by the day. And this stream, as always, is sponsored by my sponsor, Outlier. And this is where you can make the best bets and have all the information to support your data. Please visit my sponsors. You guys can see that in the link. You get a free month of it, and then you'll kick a little bit back to the channel. They'll take care of me. We'll keep doing what we do here and all that. Make sure you hit that like button for me as well. We got a lot to kind of look at. First, let's talk about Kelsey Mitchell and Marina Mabry a little bit more. I have never seen Marina Mabry be so thoroughly, seemingly punked by somebody. Now, Kelsey Mitchell is 5'8", and tonight gave me a lot of it gave me a lot of insight into why Kelsey Mitchell is kind of seen how she's seen around the league, and why no one ever really messes with her. Marina Mabry, you know, not a small, competitor or anything like that. I think, usually you see Marina Mabry wanting to get brolic and buck wild with everybody. Appreciate the $4.99 super chat, Roxy Cat. Thanks, Rick. Absolutely. Glad to be here. Glad to have you. You never see Marina Mabry shook of anyone. She was looking around, acting like she didn't know what was going on. And I was like, hey, yo. And we're going to, look at the video and all that in just a second of it. But I think from there, that kind of zapped Mabry for a while, and it took her a while to get back going. But Kelsey just was incredible. And this was, for a lot of people, I think the subject of Kelsey Mitchell has made them rather, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but I do want to say it's like, all right, it seems like you are being forced into a hard position on Kelsey Mitchell, because if you're an Indiana Fever fan, you're constantly hearing, and chances are you're a big Caitlin Clark fan, right? And now I think the division tactics from external forces, outsiders, other fan bases, even the media, and sometimes even other players, and the MVP discussions and stuff like that, it forces you to be like, well, my player is the one that came and really got all this rocking and rolling. But for me, it's ultimately a fruitless discussion, because they are teammates that support each other. They, on the court, have incredible chemistry. In my eyes, they're combining to be the best backcourt in the history of the sport, at least definitely from a scoring perspective, for sure. And just tonight, they broke a record for the WNBA. This was their 16th game in a season where both of them scored over 20 points. Now, if you're going to let people want you to not have Kelsey Mitchell sign with the team over that, that's just bad advice. This is one of the most electric scorers in the world, and I've grown to fall in love with the way she plays basketball, especially when she's on. She's just a special scorer, and next to Caitlin Clark, they just blend. The way that Mitchell can attack the back cuts, the way Clark can deliver the ball. Either of them can get a bucket. Both of them have handle. Both of them can drive to the paint. Both of them can shoot for three, and they just, to me, make everyone better around them. And even Kelsey has taken steps to step her game up on the defensive end, just as I think a lot of us have acknowledged Caitlin's growth and further development on the defensive end. I feel like Kelsey should be getting some of that as well, because too often during this streak, and that streak is still going, where I believe tonight she tied Asia Wilson for the most 20-point games in a row. She's been picking up a lot of the toughest, guards on the other side. So just wanted to show some love for Kelsey Mitchell. And, remember, this one right here is these two, they're it. She left the game. I don't know anything about that yet. I'm going to look around the internet in just a second. I'm sure the post-game videos will be up, and that'll be something that we watch and all of that. Go ahead and make sure you send in your super chats. You want to get any questions off or my thoughts on anything. I'll work that in. But yeah, man, overall, this was just a game that was more like a spectacle. It kind of reminded me back in the days when, like, Michael Jordan and the Bulls, they would go play like the Raptors or the Vancouver Grizzlies, and it was like this event that this star team has come to Canada. And there seemed to be so much kind of love in the building. 19,000. They moved them to Scotiabank Arena, which is the big one. That's where the Raptors play. And, it's a really great environment, just in case it ever, goes south in Indiana for whatever reason. Toronto wouldn't be, with Sandy Brondello, wouldn't be a bad place to take up residence if you were Caitlin. But, I'm not advocating for her to leave the Fever or anything, but, should anything happen, that's always an option. But Temi Fat Benlay decided to hit more threes tonight than she has the rest of the season. Sure, there's a little chip on her shoulder. I don't know if you guys caught it. I watched a podcast with Scott Agnes, and he had mentioned why they didn't protect Temi Fat Benlay, and it was due to her outspoken nature in the locker room, to where it was like maybe she was like playing above, or like for her role on the team, like they were like she was being a vocal leader that wasn't quite like blending with the group. It was like, hey, we kind of have the leadership structure. You're a little bit, off of that. And they didn't end up retaining her, apparently. I don't know all the details. Scott doesn't either. But it was something that was mentioned. So I imagine anytime Temi Fat Benlay plays against the Indiana Fever is going to be interesting. We got the return of Brittany Sykes. The last time we see her, ironically, was when she was playing against the Fever, and she had a pretty good game in her return. And I think it's like, just a game for the tempo, and it's an unfortunate season because I think they had something going at the beginning of the year. But the Indiana Fever, like, it's too high-powered. Sophie Cunningham continues to just get powered up by the booze of the other teams. She's always making a big play. She's hitting three-pointers. She's, getting the and one. She's getting to the foul line. She's guarding. And, salute to her for, sometimes she makes things harder on herself, as far as being outspoken. But if you're going to back it up on the court, say what you want. I don't, the second you can't back it up on the court, then it becomes an issue. So I think, this one was a key game because this is a killer 5-game road trip for the Fever that you have a game almost every other day. Took care of the Dream in Atlanta, which is a tough one. Then you got to go out the country. Now they're going to the Wings on Thursday, and that one is going to be a tough game. The Wings are turning around from a loss in Golden State. I had that on last night, and Paige Beckers was doing a all-time scam job with, trying to get to her 20 points to where she was super not aggressive. And then, like, towards the end of the game when the team needs, like, almost these desperation shots, she'd just be willing and dealing and then get back down for a 15-footer. I'm like, oh, so, like, you actually not playing the scoreboard or anything. You're just doing something else. Okay. So they're a little bit in free fall. I think they're 2-7 since the All-Star break or something like that. They have fallen all the way down to the 8 seed, so they are going to want it bad. I wouldn't be shocked if the Wings protected home court on Thursday. And then, the Fever do have that back-to-back this weekend coming. I'm not sure who Liberty, and then at the end, 8:23, DJ Carrington in Chicago. So it, for me, feels like over the next two games, I could see one of the big three maybe sitting out a game, kind of to preserve, some load management and everything like that, because I think you got to be really strategic. Especially you got that mini break coming with the World Cup. If you can get everybody through this 5-game stretch on the road, on and off these airplanes, getting treatment on the run, and then ultimately playing tough teams, which is the other, underrated part of this. Toronto's not a great team. They're the 13th ranked team in the league, but they clearly played and were up for this game. So, and everyone's always going to be up to play the Indiana Fever. So, the game I want the most is a Chicago game. I want them to send DJ Carrington a little message personally. I need her to not get herself ejected. I need her to not go on Threads and tweet the words white privilege and not back anything up. I need her to keep her hands out of people's eyes. I need her to be on the court playing competitively and ultimately getting bust. Getting her ass bust by Caitlin Clark at the end of the day. That's what I need personally. But yeah, let's take a look at the scoreboard. I'm gonna bring it in here from Outlier, and right here is going to be. Let's take a look at this thing here. So, as I said, Kelsey Mitchell, 11 of 16, 83% true shooting. It's madness. And she was 11 of 16, 4 threes. Just an incredible night for her. And let's take a look at the situation I was talking about with her and Marina Mabrey, because that right there is pretty hilarious. I can't lie.